Ludmila and her family were going through tough times. 2 years ago, her husband left her with their 2 children, and he ran off to work with some young harpy. He didn't even call after boarding the plane. No one heard anything about him. There was no talk of child support either. Money was just enough to get by, only for food and essentials. Ludmila herself worked as a crane operator at the factory. Her salary was not the smallest for their region, but it wasn't easy to live on it with 2 children. Ludmila's youngest son was 7 years old. This year, Stepan was supposed to start first grade. Her older son, Gennady, had just turned 16 when he first started dating a girl from a parallel class. Inna, that was Gennady's friend's name, was a nice girl. At first meeting, Ludmila liked her, but as she got to know her a little better, she began to grumble more and show dissatisfaction. The thing was, the teenagers literally took up residence in their 2-room apartment. They were home all day long, occupying the living room where the only TV was, hardly ever going outside. And they were constantly munching on something. Ludmila somehow caught herself thinking that with Inna's appearance, she spent all day in the kitchen when she wasn't working. If before, the pasties made by Mom lasted at least 3 days, now they were devoured in just a day. A 5-liter pot of soup was eaten in a day. And the cutlets disappeared, not even having time to cool down. And it was hard not to understand that it was her son's fascination that was to blame. Ludmila worked shifts, so on weekends, she always tried to cook food for her sons, for the time she wouldn't be there. It was summer vacation, so the kids were at home. Coming home from work, the woman increasingly found that she returned to a completely empty fridge. Although before, the boys would leave something so she could have a snack after work. The other day, Inna rudely walked into the kitchen, dumped the dishes in the sink, and just left. Ludmila was sitting at the table watching her series on the tablet. "Gennady, son, go wash the dishes." She just yelled, and when he came, his mother asked him, "Is your princess not accustomed to washing dishes?" "Mom, she has long nails. And she's just visiting," her son replied, but he still washed the dishes. The situation was starting to get to her, so Ludmila realized it was time to discuss this issue with her son. In the evening, when Gennady walked in home, his mother decided to have a serious talk with him. "Son, I need to have a delicate conversation with you. About Inna. I'll warn you right away that you might not like what I'll say, but there's no other way." Gennady sat down on the couch and looked at his mom, ready to listen. Though he thought she was going to talk about something else. He felt like he knew more about it than she did, even though he hadn't slept with the girl yet. No, the conversation turned out to be on a completely different topic. "So, why do you guys always stay at our place? I don't seem to mind, but you understand that I can't even watch TV when I'm not at work. You're always watching your silly shows, or some movies. I'm also a member of this family. And I have the right to at least a couple of hours a day to watch what I like." "Mom, why are you starting this?" The son began to justify himself. "You're still watching some nonsense. And you have a tablet. What's wrong? And we're at home, because it's very hot outside. Why should I feel like a guest in my own apartment? Why should I sit in the kitchen or lock myself in my bedroom? I don't like it. It shouldn't be like this." The second room was indeed Ludmila's bedroom, but only because it was too small for 2 boys. The living room was much more spacious, so the son slept there. And Mom got a tiny room, where her bed, wardrobe, dresser, and old sewing machine barely fit. "Mom, please stop it. Just tell me when you want to watch TV. We can hang out in the kitchen." Hard to believe, but now it's about the kitchen. Inna is with us from morning till night. It's like I have another hungry mouth to feed out of nowhere. And, as practice has shown, a rather voracious hungry mouth. She has breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. You understand that my salary is not unlimited. I can't afford to support your friend too. Stepan is starting school this year. I need a bunch of money to get him ready. There's a lot to buy. And my food expenses have almost doubled. Could you hint to Inna that our home isn't a free dining hall? What do you want, her to pay for her food? No, of course not, just let her go home to eat. That's normal. I'm not obligated to feed someone else's child. I don't need an extra mouth to feed, I have enough with my own kids. Ludmila tried to speak restrainedly, not to offend her son. She loved him very much, but she wasn't going to indulge him in all his whims. Mom, I have a girlfriend for the first time in my life. How do I tell her that? I don't know. It's my first time in this situation too. So don't stay at home all day to avoid emptying the fridge like locusts in a field. It's hot. There's a pond nearby. That's where all your peers hang out. And you're at home. Mom, going to the pond also costs money. We won't just sit there hungry all day. And I don't have enough pocket money for that. Dear, if you consider yourself mature enough to date a girl, then you're mature enough to earn money. Soon she'll start asking you for gifts. You'll see where you'll get the money from. From my wallet? No, that won't happen. Mom, I'm only 16, have you forgotten who will hire me? Son, you're already 16. You're a healthy guy. If you wanted to, you could find some options. After all, we live in a big city. There are plenty of opportunities here. Gennady thought it over. In fact, he hadn't realized how much trouble his relationship with the girl was causing his mom. He couldn't help but listen to her words, as he saw and understood how difficult it was for her to support him and his brother. But why did you think Inna eats so much? I'm just curious. Maybe I'm missing something? Well, before, I would fry you that red bowl of pastries, and you and your brother would have enough for 2 to 3 days. Remember, I cooked them again the day before yesterday. I came home in the evening, and the bowl was empty. Where did they go? After all, you understand that if you and your brother ate them together, then eating so much is harmful in principle. You'll turn into meatballs so quickly. And Inna too, if you were all three eating. You see, it's not that I mind. It's just that we have a limited budget, I can't afford all three of you. Or I'll start cooking soup with just water to discourage your girlfriend. And then you and your brother will forget about all the goodies. Cookies and candies from home will vanish. Although they're already disappearing at a crazy pace. Doesn't she have her own parents? Of course, she does. But they don't let her stay for long. Her mom said so right away. You can't eat here. Can she? Then I don't allow it either. And I ask you to eat separately, at your own homes. Or Stepan will have to buy school uniform and backpack at a thrift store. And he'll be really upset. Do you understand that? I understand, I just don't know what to do with the girl now. Actually, I've suggested to her several times to go to the pond or walk in the park. But she always refuses. Well, tell her that I've also forbidden constant hanging out at our place. After all, as long as you live under the parental roof, you must understand that there are rules. The next day, Gennady talked to his girlfriend. And they stopped spending whole days at their apartment. Though she didn't like such an arrangement much. She really loved her mom's pastries, cutlets, and soups. And Gennady simply didn't have money for street treats. So they often went hungry. That's when the guy decided to find a part-time job, as his mom advised. There was a water park in their area. And teenagers were often hired to work there. Working as an instructor was interesting. The main thing was to know how to swim. And Gennady felt in the water like a fish. Moreover, he was tall and strong enough. He was easily taken on a part-time basis, but he had to go through training first. It was his first experience. And finally, Gennady was able to understand that money doesn't fall from the sky. To earn them, you have to sweat. The work of instructors, although not dusty, required constant attention. The responsibility was significant. But overall, he liked it. And he also made new friends. There were cheerful and content people around him, beautiful girls, toddlers splashing and squealing in the water. Every day was filled with some adventures. It's just that there was less and less free time left for Ina. The girl couldn't stand such rude treatment towards her for long. And after some thought, she dumped Gennady. It had only been 2 weeks since he started working when she got tired of their relationship. Or rather, the lack of it, as he was almost never around. Gennady was upset, but still didn't quit his job. They paid him a little, but at least he didn't have to ask his mother for pocket money. And he managed to treat Stepan to candies and ice cream. And when school started again, Gennady also worked, but on weekends. Ludmila was glad that her son listened to her. She was very worried that her dissatisfaction might provoke a different reaction, as teenagers are sometimes unpredictable. What do you think? Did Gennady's mom do the right thing? Right thing?